And good morning. It's 7:03 on this Tuesday, February 23rd. It's time to head to Studio B for Coleman and Company.
Well, hello, everybody. Welcome. Sun is shining. It is warm. A little frost out there this morning. I think my car temperature might have been 36, but MJ, I know, said 39. So somewhere in that neighborhood, just a little frost, but not a lot. And it's looking like spring. We are on the air, of course, for Vanderbilt Wilson County Hospital, as we are each Tuesday. And a couple of Tuesdays a month, we have a medical professional and Tracy Pope to show up. Today, we're going to be talking with one of the representatives from the city of Mount Juliet. And that will be after we remind you that following Tennessee Department of Health and Wilson County Health Department guidelines, Vanderbilt Wilson County Hospital began assisting Wilson County Health Department in their efforts to vaccinate eligible individuals for COVID-19. And Vanderbilt Wilson County Hospital is actively working with the state and local health departments to follow a safe, coordinated, and effective means of vaccinating individuals. If an individual is eligible and wishes to schedule an appointment, please continue to utilize the Wilson County Health Department resources, 866-442-5301, or by registering online. As long as supplies of vaccines are available, Vanderbilt Wilson County Hospital will also vaccinate eligible individuals, and starting this yesterday, they must be age 65 and older per current TDOH guidelines. And that's on a first-come, first-served basis during Monday through Friday, 8 a.m. to 12 p.m., 1 p.m. to 5 p.m. They are screening, registering, and vaccinating individuals through the main entrance of the hospital. Access is limited. Visitors will need to continue to utilize the emergency department entrance following the restricted COVID-19 visitation policy that remains in place. And that's from Tracy Pope, Director of Community Relations. And a reminder that Vanderbilt Wilson County Hospital is here when you need them, right here in Wilson County. Vanderbilt Health provides care and wellness personalized to your needs right here in your community. They have locations throughout Wilson County and are growing to provide you and your family with the right care in the most convenient location. From Vanderbilt Wilson County Hospital to various clinics in and around Lebanon and Mount Juliet, they are nearby when you need them most. All right, with that, I'm going to go to the phone, and Mount Juliet City Manager Kenny Martin is with us this morning. Kenny, good morning.
Good morning there, Coleman. How you doing this morning?
Doing well, and it's good to hear your voice, and glad to have you with us, of course.
You too, is my friend. Like I said, I'm still looking forward to seeing you, but I know with all this COVID, we're just trying to be extra safe, and plus the roads are so covered up with snow this morning, I didn't want to take any chances.
Well, you did have a meeting last night, I understand.
We did. We had a good meet. We were in and out there in about an hour, and so it went very well. City conducted quick business, and I really appreciate our elected body.
Well, while we are talking, we had last week was a typical severe winter weather week here. I mean, we don't have them every year. It's been a few years since we had as much snow or as much ice. And it didn't get as cold. I mean, we've seen it get a lot colder than it did last week, but it gets below 20, it's still cold, and a lot of people kind of displaced during the week. What was it like in Mount Juliet, and what did you do or what did you not do and get done, that sort of thing? Give us a little report from last week, if you will.
No, absolutely, you're right. And I was being a little facetious and silly earlier when I said something about didn't want to be on the road this morning. I think it's still stuck in my head. Is that we actually closed our city offices the entire week, and anybody that could work from home, and of course, you know, our staff that could work from home, finance director, people like that. But I got to think on the front end, our public works department, our street crews, and also our police and fire, of course. So they had to be out in that every day, responding to emergencies, things of that nature. But our street crews did a great job. I mean, it's hard when you get ice and then snow and then ice and then snow again on top of that. And freezing temperatures. I think we had, about 7 days to where temperatures were below freezing, which I think was a new record. We still conducted city business, but it was a unique way to do it from basically satellite locations.
Well, I don't think we had any horror stories here, and for the most part, I think we all had electricity. Other places didn't fare as well. and it is awfully nice not to lose your electricity, not to worry about heat. Maybe even if it's an extended period of time, for things in the freezer even to ruin. Although in the colder weather, it's not as bad as it is in the summertime. But all those things we can be thankful for. We had a very limited amount, if any, of them.
Yeah, you're exactly right, Tom. I think up east they got more ice than anything, and it was sort of the reverse of what you'd normally see in Tennessee. You get all the snow up east and maybe ice here. I was worried about, and I'm sure the power companies were as well, about getting a lot of ice. Not necessarily the sleet, but the ice that would cover the trees and the power lines and all. And we dodged a little bit of a bullet on that, because it would have been just terrible to have had the power outages on top of everything else that we were dealing with. But there was a few people we were able to respond to them that did lose some power for inadvertent other reasons, not necessarily because power went out. So I'd like to thank the electric companies as well for doing a great job and keeping everything up and going. But I would say that most everybody that I've talked to has had their fill of snow. Wow, everybody always says, well, I just like to have one big snow, and I'm good with the big snow as long as it's gone in about a day or so.
Well, I'm okay with that. Not that I really love it, but I'm okay with that. But I like for it to be gone in a hurry too. Did you have many fender benders or people in ditches being pulled out, that kind of thing?
Cole, that's a great question. In my 31 years, and I think Vice Mayor Justice is probably listening as well. He worked a lot of crashes like I did in law enforcement for years, and through our social media, through Captain Chandler and the police department, they did a wonderful job helping get the word out, and our citizens should be applauded as well, because they heeded the warnings. And I know you can say, well, the roads were so safe they didn't really have much choice, but in years past, it seems like a lot of folks would want to get out and venture out in it. This time they heeded the warnings pretty well, stayed off the roads, and we had actually a surprisingly low number of crashes. And I was speaking to Mayor Hutto, or communicating in some shape, form, or fashion with him, and Mayor Bell every day. We trying to coordinate to make sure that we were helping one another where needed, and also trying to decide what the different cities would do as far as closing city offices. And of course, most important thing is to keep your staff safe. And it went very well. I don't think we had any serious crashes, and it's like I said, it's best to be expected with the weather that we had.
Okay, about your meeting last night, did everybody come to City Hall? Did you do a virtual meeting? How did you do that?
Yeah, we actually had a workshop at 5:30, and the workshop was to talk about park improvements. As you know, the city's better than doubled its parkland in recent months, thanks to our elected body. And so the next phase 2 of that process, was to say, okay, taking some of our parks money, and our parks money, a big majority of it comes through our hotel motel tax, and that's where people travel and stay in the hotels. There's the taxes that we make from that goes into a special fund to offset the cost of operating parks. And so in this particular case, we use it for capital improvements. And so our parks director had put four different parks project improvements before the commission. They did pass it on first reading. What we'll do now is prioritize those improvements from the 4 pieces of property, tweak the numbers a little bit to make sure that the numbers are as accurate as possible, and then get those back to the commission for second reading. And basically what that equates to is, just improving some of the raw land we've got. The one improvement to an existing park would be Mundy Park, and that's where we're looking at taking a multi-purpose field and playground and upgrading that to pickleball courts, tennis courts, and a new playground.
Well, anything else along that line last night, or did you do some other things of equal importance?
We did. Yeah, we did some other things, and one of those is that Commissioner Justice, I keep wanting to say Commissioner, Vice Mayor Justice, had requested me to get some information together for him on what it would take to add street lights. Lebanon Road has a few street lights, but not enough to really make a major difference. So he was wanting to upgrade that section for his constituents. And so he put that forth a couple of meetings ago. This was second reading last night. It's about 80 some odd street lights, and the commission approved that. The cost is about $100,000, and that's going to make a big difference along a certain corridor of Lebanon Road. Once we get phase 1 done, the desire will be to take it all the way to the county line.
Well, I'm just wondering here. You appropriate some money for the lights themselves. You're going to have a little more cost to have that many lights going that you don't have now.
That is a great question. Yes, sir. It costs probably about $5,000 more a year in electric costs to operate those additional lights. But, of course, the trade-off you get for this one-time investment and then the annual cost of the electricity, sort of like the LPR cameras. What you get in beautification, safety, things of that nature is well worth the offset. So the hope is to eventually upgrade all of our lights. This will be LED lights along 70, but the hope's going to be is to upgrade all of the street lights to LED. Not only are they cheaper to operate, but they put out a totally different light, a better light than I call them orange oxide. I think they're actually called phosphite bulbs, just doing the little things to try to improve safety. It's funny you say adding street lights makes it safer, but it does, and it also makes it more inviting. It helps the police department as well with see what's going on around some of these buildings.
Well, it might even give that part of Mount Juliet a little bit more identity. People come through 70, they go, hey, this is in the city limits of Mount Juliet.
Yep, you're exactly right. We did that with I-40 interchange a few years back, and I tell you, this is pardon the pun, it was different between daylight and dark. Not having them now, you can imagine never not having them.
All right, Kenny Martin is with us. It's time for us to take a break. He's the city manager for the city of Mount Juliet. We'll talk more in a moment here on Coleman and Company, FM 98.9.
And it's now 7:15. Let's see what's happening on the roadways. Want to thank Bates Ford, and they've got that regular oil change only $24.95, up to 5 quarts oil, tax and disposal. 1673 West Main. Now with traffic, here's Chuck.
Good morning. Traffic volume has picked up quite a bit, actually, in the last few minutes, coming through Kingston Springs on I-40 eastbound. It's still a little bit slow from the earlier crash up there in Jolton on 24 eastbound at Whites Creek Pike. You just got so much heavy traffic trying to get in from Clarksville through that section of Jolton. Latest track with entries, 4000 block in Nolensville Pike. That's near Harding Place. Watch for the fire department. They've just been dispatched in that area. Right now, teachers and students get 15% off all orders at Donut Distillery. They're located 311 Gallatin Avenue in East Nashville. I'm Commander Chuck with your on-time traffic.
Renewal happens here at Lebanon Center for Rehabilitation and Healing. Lebanon Center for Rehabilitation and Healing has experienced new leadership and a new atmosphere. Same location in the heart of Lebanon, 731 Castle Heights Court on the Castle Heights campus. Lebanon Center for Rehabilitation and Healing is providing 5-star clinical outcomes to short-term and long-term care residents. Call 615-444-4319 for a tour and to experience the new culture. Renewal happens here at Lebanon Center for Rehabilitation and Healing.
Hi, everybody. It's springtime football with Cumberland University. I'm Tommy Bryan, and along with Bob Lee, we'll be bringing you all the exciting play-by-play action of Cumberland Phoenix football. Friday's home game features NAIA-powered Georgetown at Noakes Lassiter Field. All the exciting action of Cumberland University football on WANT and WCOR, Lebanon.
Coleman and Company, thanks for joining us. Kenny Martin, city manager for Mount Juliet's on the phone with us this morning. Let's get back to your meeting. Well, before we do that, let me do this right here, Kenny, because if I don't, I'll forget it. Got an email yesterday from our Lebanon-Wilson County Chamber of Commerce. Now, they had planned to have the annual membership meeting and award celebration tonight. It's a virtual meeting that had been planned, but that has been postponed until Monday, March 1st, due to the inclement weather last week and unforeseen internet outage. Annual membership meeting and awards celebration been postponed to Monday, March 1st. So keep that in mind, and it's always a great time. I know in Mount Juliet you've already had yours, and Mark Honsley told us a little bit about that, I think, the other day. But it's good to have a thriving Chamber of Commerce, and nice to see who gets awards for the different things they recognize people for achievement, things they do for our community, and so that's just been postponed. But I know you appreciate what the chamber does, Kenny, and it is really a vital cog in the way we get things done.
Oh, I could not agree more. I had the blessing, Coleman, oddly enough, to serve on the Lebanon Chamber of Commerce board for 4 years. And I remember being asked about that, and I worked for the city of Mount Juliet, and I thought, man, what an awesome way to reach out to another city. I enjoyed serving. I got to see a lot of the way things work with the Lebanon Chamber as well, which they work similar to the one in Mount Juliet. and how those two work together. And I can tell you one thing: the Lebanon Chamber of Commerce and Mount Juliet Chamber of Commerce are important to the city. They're important to the county. Of course, they're very important to us at City Hall. And I want to thank our local chamber as well, because we had our awards banquet, which was virtual, recently, and what they did was really pretty cool. They recognized all the heroes, your teachers, fire department, police department, you name it, and all the city staff and citizens. I mean, it really named it was really everybody.
Well, let me ask you this: since you had a virtual one, kind of compare that with the way it's always been done, when everybody's going to receive something is there and you have an audience. This is a little bit different, but how did that work?
It was different. What they did this time is that they sent basically an invite out to everybody. I hate to say everybody, but certain folks, they wanted to do little video presentations. They had to be like a minute and a half long, and there was different ways they did it. So each person probably did two, but they were different as far as what the topic was. And they put all that together, almost like a movie production, so that it started and ended with all these different folks and video being added in, and then your personal presentations. And then they had different members of the board through the chamber, including the president, make recognitions. And that's, the city hall staff and the city of Mount Juliet got an award, and it was called basically Hometown Heroes. And it was pretty awesome. I had to say, with the year with COVID and tornadoes and windstorms and winter storms and you name it, that was the best way to do it and keep everybody safe. It was very creative. They did a wonderful job with that.
Okay. Well, thanks for telling us about that, and we'll look forward to Lebanon's on Monday, March 1st. Now, back to your meeting last night. I think some more we haven't covered, maybe.
Yeah, and I also would be remiss if I didn't mention too, Coleman. I think you and I talked about it before when we were on break, but I want to give a shout out to our mayor, Mayor James Manus. He and the new commission, as I call it, we've got a few new commissioners. They've been doing absolutely a fabulous job. The mayor did his State of the City last week, which was also virtual. That was unique to have to do it that way. And he and Travis Taylor, our IT director, they worked very hard on that. Thought it was very well done, had a big turnout. And just want to give him a shout out for the job he did on that. That's a unique way to have to do it. It's almost like watching the State of the Union on TV, to where you have a person that's sitting there and they've got the backdrop and they're just basically telling you everything that's going on in the city. And normally that would be done in person. So good job, and kudos to him and the Chamber of Commerce for coordinating that the way they did.
Okay, thank you for that. And what else last night?
Yeah, one of the other things they did is we're working with an engineering firm. At some point in the future, we're going to be widening the remaining section of Old Lebanon Dirt Road, and that'll go from about Clearview Drive all the way to the county line. That road's like a lot of roads in the county. It's 2 lane, with a double yellow line in the middle. And the goal is eventually to widen that road all the way to the county line and have a turning lane, bike lanes, and sidewalks. So we made an adjustment to the engineering contract through the city, and, of course, our Public Works Department. That was one thing. Also, is in Mount Juliet we have the bridge widening going on at 40. And that doesn't sound like a big deal when you say bridge widening, because you're just thinking, you're just adding a lane. But it's so much more than that, because when you add the lane, you've got the transitions, you've got the sidewalks that'll be added as well. You've got the decorative street lighting and the bike lanes. And so it'll make traversing Mount Juliet Road anywhere near Providence much better. If anybody travels that section now and you're going north, you feel like you've got 2 lanes and a turn lane. But as you get closer to the bridge, one of those lanes transitions into a double turn lane to take you west into Nashville. So if you're not familiar with that area, it's a little confusing and it creates some conflict. So adding that lane, we're probably about 16 to 17 months for that project to come to completion. So if anybody's traveling that area of Mount Juliet, you may see some orange barrels, but the state and the contractors assured us that those lanes will remain open.
Well, one thing I've noticed on the interstate, I think you've arranged slightly, but it's no problem at all as you go under the bridge there, where the main diversions and all that's going to take place is on top, and what the city's actually doing there. It's not so much the interstate; it's the bridge over it and the roads approaching.
That's exactly right. They'll build that new lane, of course, and once it's completed, they'll transfer over, and then they'll start tying that all in. So it should be that rarely, if ever, do you see it down to just one lane.
Mm-hmm.
So the state always does a really good job of that. We appreciate them. We appreciate the state in general. I don't think I give TDOT enough credit, but they're doing projects all over the state, and these things never come to fruition as soon as you'd like them to. But there's so much behind the scenes that has to be done before a road project can occur. And one of the most important things is right-of-way acquisition, which can take quite some time. But with everything you see going on 109, I know that project's taken a long time. But I can assure you, after we went through the widening of Mount Jewett Road years ago, once that project's done, everything that follows and the benefit of having that road done, and you think about all the 95 counties and every city and road in this state, and you're vying for monies to get a project done. That 109 one's going to be probably one of the most important ones. So as we speak, we're getting the bridge widened at Mount Juliet. We're getting the I-40 upgrades, and then 109. That's a lot of benefit coming to Wilson County. So I'm most thankful for that, and I know that everybody else is. It's just we all have to get through the construction.
Well, they say the squeaking grease gets the wheel, and I think we've been squeaking quite a bit for quite a long time.
That's right.
but it is needed. let me ask this. We may have talked about it some before, but do you really have more businesses and industry and this kind of thing coming your way, or do you really have more influx of people moving into the Mount Juliet, or is really a combination there? What are you having?
I think you're right. I think it's a combination of all of it. Probably most important, you got more people wanting to move here. And, there's always a saying, once a secret gets out about your community, well, I can tell you the secret's been out for some time about Wilson County and all these wonderful cities within it. And there's people moving from all over the country. I think the growth residentially will continue. I think you'll continue to see the populations go up. That's why it's important we stay after this infrastructure and, adding traffic signals, widening roads where we can, encouraging people, to work from home where they can or not travel when they don't have to, bikeways, walkways, things of that nature. All those things work together to hopefully make the traffic better, the 109 improvements, you name it. But, yeah, we're going to see a lot of people continue to move here. It's just such a, the climate, except for last week, is usually pretty good. The no state income tax, low taxes, smart government. And it's just a wonderful place filled with wonderful people. So I think you're going to continue to see that, which is actually good. I know it. You think of traffic right off the bat, but the reason that we need more people living in our community is so that we also create a workforce. So that as these companies either look or do decide to move here, we've got a way to fill these jobs. Not everybody can drive from Nashville and come to Wilson County, but the goal is to have at least 50% of the people that come to Wilson County during the daytime be people that live elsewhere, so that they go back home. You're not having to educate them or anything, but you're providing that workforce so that you get all the benefits of having that company in your community. Yet you're not having to educate them and things of that nature. But we'll get our own population from that, of course, with the increase, and then that helps drive business because rooftops drive business.
Well, let me throw something else out here, because you're talking about low taxes, and y'all have been in Mount Juliet. I think you've been really known for low taxes. How much longer can you continue at the rate you're going now, or somewhere before too long you're going to have a tax increase?
That's a good question. I mean, this year we got our sales tax numbers in. You're right. It really depends on the economy. We've been blessed for as long as the city's been incorporated. Founded in 1835, incorporated in 1972, and we've had a tax now about 10 years, and it's 16.5 cents. I feel pretty good right now about not having to see a tax increase in the future, and I feel like the elected body probably feels that same way. But it's like anything else, depending on the economy and what was happening. We went through that pretty tough time during 08. I think what's going to help us, Coleman, probably put that off is all the growth that we're seeing here, because growth helps offset a lot of those costs as well. I know that Lebanon's up right now, and sales tax getting places like Amazon and things of that nature in your community, we're up $3 million over last year. So as long as those kind of things are happening and the growth continues, I think that Mount Jewett and the county will be in great shape. So I don't foresee that happening, but you never say never. And the city,
well, it's It's getting to be budget time. I don't know how soon y'all start working on it, but I've already heard that out of the city of Lebanon a little bit, and maybe even the county. And I guess if you haven't started, you will be before long.
We have. As a matter of fact, we've already sent out the schedule to the commissioners to see if that works with them. And then everybody internally is already working on their budget. And we'll do our desk review at some point, and then, of course, we get that to the commission, and it goes from there. And we hope to have a pretty smooth process this year. You know, the city elected body understands there's going to be things that we need. Anytime you're growing, you're going to need staff to help offset some of that growth as well. So, you know, I feel pretty good about the future. You know, I'm fixing to start my 32nd year with the city, and been blessed. I can remember all those years wondering how we made it without a property tax at all. And it is tougher when you don't have quite as big a property tax as some of these other communities. But it's like pay. We look at it this way, Coleman, and I'll finish with this. We look at it like that, you know, a lot of folks out there are having a tough time, you know, the economy and COVID and things of that nature, and they have to live within their means. Well, you know what? The city of Mount Justice is going to do the exact same thing. We're going to live within our means. And if we have to, you know, cut here and there to save a little bit to make sure we're providing the same level of service to the citizens, but yet not have to increase taxes, that's what we're going to do. But we've always got our eye on the ball to make sure that, you know, we're taking good care of our citizens. That's the most important thing.
We've come to the end of our time. Thank you so much for being with us. It's always good to hear from you, and we'll do it again next time. Thank you, Kenny Martin.
Thanks, Coleman.
Okay, that is part one of Coleman and Company. We hope you had it presented, of course, by Vanderbilt Wilson County Hospital. Stay with us for more here on FM 98.9.
And it's now 7:29. Let's see what's happening on the roadways. Thanks, Absolute Kubota, Lamprey, quality tractor implements, including cutters, finish mowers, box blades, tillers, and more. 5-year gearbox warranty. Extremely durable and well built. 1506 West Main. Now at traffic. Here's Chuck.
Good morning. Traffic still in pretty good shape right now for the most part. Coming down 65 through Madison. It's heavy. It's just busy out here in the normal spots. Sure, we've seen a couple of accidents out here in the last 15, 20 minutes as they mop up that wreck on Briley Parkway over there near Brick Church Pike. Also, checking an accident, 300 block of 11th Avenue. That's going to be right in the central part of town. It's busy out here in the normal spots. Give yourself extra time. Check out the Andre Chicken Sandwich now. Available at Princess Hot Chicken, 5814 Nolensville Pike. I'm Commander Chuck. You're on time traffic.
71 degrees all the way.
73 degrees, please.
So what's your perfect degree of comfort? We'll help you find it with professional Rheem HVAC service that'll keep your home comfy year-round, save on energy costs, and may qualify for utility rebates and tax credits. So enjoy a new degree of comfort.
72 degrees, and I'm good to go.
Financing available through TVA's Energy Right program and your local power company. Call Randy's Heat and Air 237-3604.
Vanderbilt Health is honored to announce the newest addition to our family of hospitals, Vanderbilt Wilson County Hospital in Lebanon. This hospital will provide care for Wilson County residents with the goal of improving the health and well-being of our newest community. Hospitals are for healing, new life, and recovery. They're places of innovation and learning. At the end of the day, hospitals are all about one thing: community. Thank you for welcoming us into yours. Let's do great things together.
The weather is going to be very spring-like outside today. Highs this afternoon will reach the low 60s with plenty of sunshine. Wednesday's forecast will be very similar with temperatures in the low 60s with mostly sunny skies. Temperatures will top out in the mid-50s on Thursday. This weather forecast is brought to you by Walker Auction and Realty, professional auction and real estate services. Get top dollar for your home, land, or personal property. Log on to MikeWalkerAuctions.com. They know auctions. That's a look at your forecast. I'm meteorologist TJ Scott.
Coleman and Company, welcome to part two. Caught me right in the middle of a good story again. But, welcome here on a Tuesday morning. We have Sean Dozier with us, Executive Director of Farside Senior Living, Retirement and Assisted Living Community right here on Castle Heights Avenue North. It is good to see you. Good morning.
Good to see you. Always good to be here. Do you remember Les Jamison? He was on WLAC in the afternoons.
I remember him. Yes, I do.
And my grandmother used to listen to him. That was my first memory of listening to a talk show host on radio. I don't remember if he was conservative or liberal or what he was, but I remember my grandmother always listening to WLAC Les Jamison.
Oh, he had a quite thing going there for a long time.
Well, you were talking about radio folks from the past, and anyway.
Well, I was just telling you a Larry Munson story, but that's okay.
It's always good to be here to talk about Hearthside, Coleman. We're moving right along. Last week was, of course, a busy week. We our staff really pulled through. You know, it's been a rough year, but last week we pulled through again. I was able to pick up folks, you know, and get them to work. And
boy, you might be. Maybe we ought to nominate you for an award or something.
I deserve it.
How many?
I deserve it.
Yeah.
What award do I get today?
How many employers, though, go out and get and bring their
Well, if you're an administrator for a nursing home or an assisted living or independent, whatever, you make sure you get your employees to work because you can't do it all. So
yeah.
I don't mind doing it.
Well, you have a sort of a selfish reason.
I have a selfish reason, yeah,
still,
absolutely.
I think you'd be commended.
Well, thank you very much. There's a lot of folks that do the same thing. There was a guy that put 1,000 miles on his car, I think down in Cheverville or Lewisburg, one of those that was on the news the other day, an administrator for a nursing home. But we're glad to do it because those folks really do the work. And we had one lady that stayed from Sunday to Saturday. She didn't leave the building. Of course, she didn't work all those shifts, but she stayed right there with us. And I appreciate Kim Edwards. She did a great job last week. And I appreciate all of our staff because they really pulled through.
Yeah. Well, I guess people are concerned, although your people aren't going anywhere. They're just there, but their relatives are concerned with the cold weather and how they're doing. And
well, they called and they checked on them, and we did fine, and we turned the fireplaces on to keep them warm, and they enjoyed that. They enjoyed looking at the snow. We had 2 of our staff members build a snowman for the residents so they could enjoy looking at that. So it was a great week. You know, it's always fun to have those weeks every once in a while. You don't want to do that every year, but I remember about 5 years ago doing the same thing, and it's fun every once in a while, but I'm ready to see it go. It's a beautiful day today, 60 degrees. Is that right?
Maybe so.
Maybe we'll get to 60 degrees. So I'm ready to turn the page.
Well, it'll be nice when we see all these piles of snow that are over on the side of the streets when it's all melted and gone. Really,
I'm ready. I'm ready for it.
I
to
don't
go.
need a reminder.
We're moving right along, Coleman. We got a couple openings in the assisted living. So if you're interested in our assisted living, if you just need a little additional help, we offer a great service there. We have some small rooms and a couple of medium rooms available. So you can stop by for a tour or call us at 615-443-1994. We have a great website, hearthsideliving.org. So check that out. But we are open for business and things are running smoothly. We get our second vaccine shot today. We had to postpone that from last week. So our residents and our staff are, I think, excited about that. And today from 9 to 2, Walgreens comes out. The pharmacists from Walgreens, they come out and they do it. They did a great job for round 1. So round 2 is today. And not only do our assisted living folks get it, but also the folks in our independent living. So they're all ready to go for that today.
Well, I just know you have something good to eat on these cold winter days and all of that, but other people worry about groceries being out at the supermarket or something. I don't guess you have that.
No,
problem.
you know, just speaking of awards, another award I should get is I delivered food to the folks down in the independent living, you know, because they didn't want to drive up there. So I braved the snow and the ice, and I delivered food down to the folks. Of course, it was only 2 or 3 people, but
I can just imagine you though with maybe a big snow sled and all the food, and you walking down there from one house to the other and delivering.
Well, I had some help, so I can't take all the credit. But listen, we made sure they were taken care of, and we ran some errands for them for those folks that couldn't get out. So one of our values, I guess, is customer service. So we try to go overboard with customer service, and I think we did that last week.
Well, it's good that you made it fine, and we probably, as Kenny and I were talking about earlier, we didn't have too many rough spots here, other than just the weather itself. We've made it okay.
You made it every day to work. I think.
Well, yeah.
That was great. And, we made, you know, at least electricity didn't go out. That was my main concern for an assisted living like that, or our folks in the independent living.
Well, do you have contingency plan?
We don't have a generator. You know, assisted livings aren't required to have a generator, so we don't have a generator. But we have backup plans. We have a cold weather alert that we do, and so we're always ready. But I didn't want the electricity to go out. We have gas, you know, to keep things warm in the dining room or in the living room. So we made it through okay.
You ever have a fire drill when there's snow on the ground?
No, in fact, we've been able to sort of back off the fire drills just a little bit. They don't want people congregating together, so we just do a tabletop drill with our staff, so they kind of keep up with what we need to do.
Okay. Are we ready for a Harside?
Well, my dad turned 77 today, Buck Dozier. I wanted to wish him a happy birthday. He listens all the way from Goodlettsville, Tennessee.
Does he really?
And
I remember when he was very much involved in the political landscape.
Yeah, he's retired now. He's doing quite well, and I texted him a minute ago, so I'll call him later. But happy birthday! And they were going to name me Buck Dozier the third, but my mom put a stop to that. So my grandfather was Buck Dozier Sr. He was in Nashville forever, and then my dad. So I'm glad they stuck with Sean.
Well, we are glad to have you with us, of course, and glad to have your father get the Harside hello today, as well as a happy birthday.
Happy birthday.
And we'll see you next week.
See you next week. Thank you very much.
Thank you. Sean Dozier, Executive Director, Harside Senior Living Retirement Assisted Living Community, 215 Castle Heights Avenue North, and that phone number 615-443-1994. Let me welcome Mike Jennings, our county attorney. Mike, good morning to you.
Good morning, Coleman.
Good to see you.
Good to see you.
How are you?
Yep.
How are things in Watertown?
Well, we're dry now.
Do you have about the same amount of snow and ice we had here?
You know, I think
more?
so. Actually, Coleman, I went to Knoxville Saturday to the ball game, and as I drove up the road, I was surprised. The further east you went, the less snow they had. So there were, places I would have thought had more, looked like they had a couple inches maybe.
Yeah.
But there was a lot piled up on the roads where they'd scraped it and stuff. But I think Lebanon and Watertown probably got as much as anybody around.
You into the basketball as much as you are football?
I bought season tickets a couple of years ago. I bought 3 because we have my grandson with me, and I don't go to a lot of them, but the schedule has worked out this year where I could go. I didn't have county meetings at night or city meetings.
Well, I know you love the game Saturday.
Oh, man, they worked us over Saturday. Yeah, they
it
really
was
played
Kentucky,
well.
wasn't it?
Yeah, they played well, and we played not so well, and I could use another word, but that game never was in doubt, I didn't think.
Wait, when does Vanderbilt and Tennessee play this week?
Play tomorrow night.
Tomorrow night in Nashville?
In Nashville at 8 o'clock. Now, is Vanderbilt allowing people in their gym, or are they still keeping people out?
I don't know. I don't think they're allowing many.
Okay.
Maybe. Yeah.
I'd like to see the game, but...
oh, it'll probably be on television.
Oh, it will. Yeah, it's on SEC Network, I believe.
Well, unless Tennessee rolls over and plays dead again, Vandy's got 2 chances, slim and none.
Well, it could happen with Tennessee. When they play, they're very good.
Yeah.
But they don't always want to play, apparently.
Yeah. Well, that little Pippen, I believe that's his name, Scottie Pippen.
For Vanderbilt?
Mm-hmm.
Yeah, good player.
He's, he liked to brought him back against Kentucky.
Uh-huh.
I did see the last half of that one, but anyway.
I heard one of the commentators say the other night he might be the most improved player in the league between his freshman and sophomore years.
How are things? I mean, I get we don't want to beat a dead horse to death or whatever the saying is, but we've had snows before, but we don't have them. I've never seen ice. I don't think as thick as what we had last week. We had places almost 2 inches of ice, and some of it was on my car, and then snow on top of that. So that was unusual.
It is unusual, and the way it came, the ice first, and then the snow almost to pack it down.
Yeah.
And to insulate it,
but still, it's not like we should expect some weather like this. You don't usually get through January and February without a little snow and school being out a little bit and that kind of thing. It's not the end of the world.
It's not. I got an email from an insurance adjuster up north Monday wanting to talk. Last Thursday or Friday wanting to know about something, and I sent it back and I said we're pretty much shut down here for what you Northerners call a small snow, and that's what it amounts to,
Yeah.
But it does. You can tell when you get out on the road, people don't know how to drive in it, and they're just as well to stay at home.
Well, you had a meeting last night.
We did.
In fact, I switched over, and I didn't watch much of it. I did see Tom Brashear up there looking like a preacher almost as he was expounding on whatever he was talking about, but my wife was watching something else. That was during a commercial break, so I soon switched it back and forgot about it.
We had a long meeting. We didn't get out till 9:30.
Oh.
And we had 4 zoning matters, one of which was generated a lot of public comment from neighbors in the area. So that's the reason Tom was up when you saw. He's usually at the end of the of the meeting, but there were so many people there last night wanting to speak that they felt it would be, out of being considerate, they moved that up to the early part of the agenda, which I thought was a good move. It's hard to ask people to sit there till 9 o'clock on Monday night to speak. So we had a long meeting. We had about 14 resolutions, and we'll be back in 3 weeks. So we got that short turnaround.
That's right. Well, it's about a minute early, but MJ, she's saying, wait a minute.
Okay. We can kill some time here. The one thing that I probably need to get in here, and I know you asked the county mayor about it yesterday, they did vote last night to extend the time to pay your property taxes by 1 week till March the 5th.
All right, now is that official, or somebody else got to approve it?
No, I think that's official. So we approved it last night in a resolution. So you'll have until, instead of February 28, you'll have until March 5 to pay your property taxes. Now, that's your county property taxes. Right. Your cities may do something else.
Yeah, county property taxes without penalty through Friday, March 5th.
That's correct. And even if you mail it and you get it postmarked by the 5th, you're in good shape.
Yeah. Okay. Well, trustee called me yesterday, wanted to know if I was coming to the meeting last night. And I said, well, no, but Mike and I will talk about it in the morning. And we had been reminding everybody they had till the 28th, which they did until last night. But now it's official, and you've got an extra week's what it amounts to.
You've got an extra 5 days. I said week, and that's not exactly accurate. You technically had till February 28th, which is Sunday. If you've got postmarked Sunday somewhere, you're fine. Well, we've extended it to the next Friday. So actually, we've extended it 5 business days.
Right. And all that really is because of the difficulty people would have had making it last week. Yes. And even the office was closed 1 or 2 days there. Yeah. Okay, well, we'll try to remind people throughout the week. You got through Friday the 5th of March to get your taxes paid, county taxes without penalty.
They may stay with.
Yeah, what are you doing about that in Watertown?
I don't know. We'll talk about our council meeting Thursday night, but our office is closed anyway. We've been doing that because of COVID, so I don't think the excuses couldn't get out. I don't know. I'll leave it up to the council what they want to do.
Let's take a break right here. This is Coleman and Company, FM 98.9.
And it's now 7:45. Let's see what's happening on the roadways. Want to thank Bates Ford and the lifetime brake pad guarantee. With the purchase of a brake service, replacement brake pads will be provided at no cost for as long as a customer owns a vehicle. Bates Ford, 1673 West Main. Now with traffic, here's Chuck.
Right to the side here on 40 westbound. It's going to be near Spence Lane as you come in from the airport side of town. 4800 block of Buena Vista Pike over in Bordeaux. 2 cars have tangled up there. Wrapping up that earlier wreck at Briley Parkway at Brick Church Pike. Hey, right now, teachers and students get 15% off all orders at Donut Distillery at 311 Gallatin Avenue in East Nashville. I'm Commander Chuck with your on-time traffic.
Welcome to Hearthside Senior Living, Lebanon's unique senior living community designed for seniors to age in place, all within a safe, comfortable, and Christian environment. Beautiful retirement homes designed for an independent lifestyle with maintenance-free living. Hearthside Senior Living also continues the excellent tradition of assisted living for those seniors who need additional services. Hearthside Senior Living, an independent retirement community and assisted living community, all on one campus in the heart of Lebanon. Call 615-443-1994 for a tour.
I'm Randy Salas, inviting you to listen to me and Jake Hood as we broadcast the 2021 Cumberland University baseball season. You won't want to miss any of the action in Coach Woody Hunt's final season at the helm of the Phoenix. All home games will be broadcast this year, weekday games on WCOR 1490 AM and weekend and night games on both WCOR and WANT FM 98.9. All games can be seen and heard on GoCumberlandAthletics.com at no charge, and you can also get your scheduling information there. Congratulations, Coach Woody Hunt, and go Phoenix.
Coleman and Company, thanks for joining us. Our final segment here for Tuesday morning. Mike Jennings is with us. He's our county attorney, Mayor of Watertown. And Mike, let me just mention this one more time. I mentioned it earlier, but the Lebanon and Wilson County Chamber of Commerce had scheduled to have a virtual membership meeting and awards celebration tonight. They have moved that till Monday, March 1st. They'll do it the same way, but due to the inclement weather last week and unforeseen internet outage, this annual membership meeting and awards celebration is going to be postponed till Monday. So that's the time we look. You've had some awards at that.
I have. Chamber's been very kind to me.
Well, let's get back to last night's meeting. We haven't covered a lot, but we did. You did have the vote last night. I bet that was a unanimous thing as far as the taxes go.
Pretty much everything we did was unanimous except for one amendment that got 2 no votes. But I want to say one other thing, Coleman, if I could. It's good to see the school buses rolling this morning.
Yes.
You know, I had to factor that in getting here, and I ran into 2 or 3 buses. But it's good to see that, and I hope we're back in school to stay.
Yeah, and we heard nothing but, seems like, for a year now just about COVID.
Yeah.
But maybe it's on the down.
I hope so.
I do too. I'm tired of course, yesterday the big news was that 500,000 people in this country had died from it. But anyway, it seems that maybe we're over the hump here and spring is on the way. So.
Yep, and it's good to see that sunshine this morning.
Okay.
We did several things last night. We voted to approve the Wilson County Employee Handbook. It hadn't been revised in over 20 years. We did that. We voted last night to keep Wilson County on a 5-year continuous reappraisal cycle. And then probably the biggest financial thing we did last night is, you mentioned COVID and still the tornado, the year anniversary we're coming up on. We're still feeling the effects of that in government. And WEMA, we moved about $280,000 last night into their overtime line item.
Mm-hmm.
As you can imagine, how many hours they've been working since all this happened. And finally, they got to the point where they said, we got to have some more money in this line item. So they did some line item transfers to cover part of that, but $280,000 came out of the fund balance. And those people have been working unbelievable hours, and we're still coming out from under stuff.
That's sort of that's one reason you have a fund balance. Absolutely. Or a rainy day fund or some money set aside. Absolutely. So that when this happens, you're not behind the 8 ball.
Just like having a savings account at your house. Mm-hmm. You need one. We did that. I was trying to think of something else. There were a couple other little things they had gotten, and they had sold some surplus property, and they put that back into their budget. We moved some money out of the litigation tax fund into the sheriff's department for them to upgrade security cameras and security equipment over at College Street, the old College Street Church of Christ. I know we got an official name for it, but I can never remember it.
If you say the old College Street Church building, people know what
we're talking about. And we did several other little things like that. Last night, actually, the resolution part of the meeting took 20 or 25 minutes. The rest of the meeting was devoted to reports, and then we probably spent over an hour in zoning issues.
All right, we're all 25 present.
All 25 present in one form or the other. 23 in the building and 2 remotely.
Oh, 23 were there.
We had 23. Okay. That's the largest crowd we've had of commissioners in several months. Mm-hmm. And we had a pretty good crowd there last night because we had a lot of, as I said, a lot of interested landowners and neighbors in the area of one of the rezonings. Trying to think of anything else. We had a couple of reports that were going to be given and maybe at least one video presentation. But because of the length of the meeting, they decided to move it till March. Although I'm not sure March is going to be any better. Tom told me last night, said I got a bunch of zoning coming next month too. So,
well, you want to get into the controversy part now, or
on the zoning?
Yeah.
Well, I don't know a whole lot about it. It's just a large tract of property. I think 200 and some odd acres down off Bender's Ferry Road and Lebanon Road in that area, and they were wanting to change from R1 to something. I forget what it was, but or maybe it was A1 to R1. I don't know, but what I heard, the difference is, as the way the property is zoned now, you could put anywhere from 230 to 250 homes on it. If you rezoned it, you could put up to 390 or 400. And so there's some small roads down there, some very heavily traveled roads, and the neighbors there spoke out in opposition to it, both personally, probably 10 people or so, and then we had 3 or 4 letters from people, and we've been allowing that because of COVID. Not everybody wants to get out and get into a crowd. So that went down unanimously, and then we had 3 other rezonings that weren't controversial, and they went through pretty smoothly.
Is it up to the county commission to say yes or no on some of those?
Depends on where it is, and it's really a hodgepodge of things. And if you're sitting out in the audience, and Tom does a good job of explaining it, but you may be sitting there scratching your head because sometimes I do that too. It may go to the Mount Juliet or the Lebanon Regional Planning Commission for a recommendation, but it comes to the county to approve the rezoning. So what that means is it's out in the county, but it's within their planning jurisdiction.
Yeah.
So it starts there. So the city has the first shot at something that's out in the county, and then the county comes along, and then somebody said last night, now after we do this, where does it go? Well, that's the end of it unless they take it to litigation.
Well, I guess there's some people that are very happy, and then there's some developers or some people who are hoping to expand their livelihood or whatever, who do not agree and who are very disappointed.
Yeah, it's that age old. I mean, I won't say age old, but certainly the last 30 or 40 years that we've seen here in our county, it's the growth versus I want it to stay the way it is.
Status quo.
Status quo, and we're right next to Nashville.
Yep.
There's not anything we can do about that. It's a plus, and sometimes it's a drag. But it's also that battle of I ought to be able to do whatever I want to with my property versus the neighbors saying, well, I moved out here from my dream home, and so now I don't want you doing this. And it's just a constant battle, and you respect everybody. I didn't know everybody that spoke last night, but there was a lot of good people. You could tell the way they presented themselves. They were very courteous to each other. They spelled out what their concerns were. And as far as government goes, that's about as good as you can hope for, because I've been in some of those where you thought you're going to have police officers between them. So they did a good job last night, both sides.
Well, another thing that troubles me a little bit is I see, especially here in the city of Lebanon, when I see all these different apartment complexes and where you used to have one house, maybe now you've got three and this sort of thing, the growth, if you will. And then some of these roads that you think how much more they're going to be used, and some of them even state roads that could be paved right now. They actually need some work, and you wonder how much worse it's going to be. And there's no way to slow this down a whole lot, I don't think, but manage it as best you can. I guess that's what we keep hearing.
One of the real challenges, and I may be speaking a little bit out of my area here, but I'll go ahead and it's never stopped me before. Developers come in on a small road and put 250 homes on it. They don't have to do anything for the roads.
Right.
And then they look at the county and say, you need to build us a better road out here.
Mm-hmm.
Well, so what's happened is the county taxpayers, in effect, are underwriting the developers because the developers are making the profit and the county taxpayers are eating part of the expense.
Yes.
And that's a real battle. And, depending on where I am, what I'm called upon to do, I can identify the strengths and the weaknesses of both of those, but it gets to be a problem, and the county does not buy a road right away. If we started doing that in a growing county, we couldn't fund the road commission, the amount of money it would take to condemn property to build roads. So it's up to the developer to do that, and if it's already on a county road, they don't have to do much.
Yeah. We've got about 3 minutes here, and there's a couple other things we could really throw out here. There's always plenty to talk about from Watertown or something. When's your next meeting?
Thursday night. We had to put ours off from last Tuesday because of the weather.
All right, and the other thing, of course, school board. You are
Yes.
very much involved right now. Why don't you take the rest of our time talk about what's happening in your area of the school board?
Well, I represent the board, and from time to time I get called upon for different things, but primarily right now what I'm doing is these two schools that were damaged by the tornado, and we kind of hit a little lag here because of the weather and because of a lot of things. We do have a new deputy director of schools who's been working on our figures, making sure that we're correct on our numbers, and we're having a meeting tomorrow to, I don't know what's the right word, just to review where we are and figure out where we're going to go, because we've got a board meeting Monday night. When we left the last board meeting, I asked them to not adjourn, but to recess in case we could call them back. My goal was that we would do some meeting last week, and of course the weather took care of that. So they're close. They're back to a school board meeting Monday night, and I'm sure it'll be discussed Monday night. But we're having this meeting tomorrow I think we've got a better handle on our numbers, what we think we need. Now, then the battle will begin with the insurance company. But I think that'll move pretty quickly. They'll either agree or we'll compromise or we'll shake hands and go to court.
Your best guess. You're not going to court, are you?
My best guess is that neither side wants to go to court. I don't think the company does either.
Yeah.
So you got to find that number, though. You know, from our perspective, Coleman, and I don't want this to sound like a game because it's not, but from our perspective, you don't want to find out that you settled for something and you could have gotten more.
Right.
You don't want to leave anything on the table. From their perspective, they want to get by, and they're in the profit-making business,
right.
and people sometimes forget that. And so they want to get by with the least amount of money they can pay.
Mm-hmm.
And so you got to find that happy medium. They have sent out little teasers from time to time, but they're not interested in litigation either. So I think tomorrow's meeting could be pretty significant on where we are number-wise.
Could it even become settled in this one meeting?
Not tomorrow. No,
No.
This is our side.
Oh,
this is our side.
I'm sorry.
All our people.
Well, in your next meeting with them.
Well, I don't know that it could be settled by them, but it could be significant progress. And I know I keep using phrases like that, but it's just hard to define. I feel like we're moving forward, but as I told a county commissioner last night, we are moving forward, but bricks are not coming up out of the ground. And I know that's what everybody wants to see. And if I live in that area, well, it doesn't matter where you live. You want your schools to be built. We have great schools here, and we want those schools to be rebuilt. And one of our teachers last night said, you know, it's going to be a challenge for us with all these kids coming back today. We have more kids than we've ever had, some from schools that got leveled by the tornado.
Mm-hmm.
So it will be it'll be an interesting day in our schools.
Well, thank you so much for being here today. We'll see you in 3 weeks.
Yep.
All right. Mike Jennings, our county attorney. That's it for a Tuesday. Please join us tomorrow for Coleman & Company. Till then, I wish you a terrific day.